So there was kind of an outbreak of violence last week around the NHL, and we wanted to run through the highlights of these moments. It started a week ago Friday with Evander Kane's hit from behind on Brodin that resulted in an injury there. No suspension for Kane on that one. And that followed up with, and you touched on this one on Hockey Night in Canada, maybe Justin Barron could have done a better job to absorb that hit, but nonetheless, Erik Gudbranson with that hit from behind, and this is the one that seems to have everybody like just flummoxed. This is Nick Cousins on Erik Gudbranson, and Kelly, you first on that one. I should mention, well, 1-game suspension for the fight. Gudbranson came back looking for retribution, got a game for fighting, whereas nothing for Nick Cousins.
Which I don't get. So first of all, the hit by Cousins is extremely dirty. So we've been talking about this forever. When the numbers are against you, you can't hit from behind. And not only does he hit, he launches himself at Gudbranson. So I understand why Gudbranson is extremely mad, and I understand why later he went after him and fought him. I don't get why he's given a suspension and nothing happens to Cousins. This is something that I think the league has to address. In fact, that, you know, these guys, they're faster than ever and they're big men and they can get in on the defenseman very quickly in the defense. I know what you said about Barron protecting himself, and that's all true as well, but we can't blame the victim in all these cases. There has to be something done, and I just don't see why Cousins wasn't suspended or fined.
So I'm the only defenseman on this panel, and I hate hits from behind, because as a defenseman, I feel vulnerable. I felt vulnerable going back for the puck at times and trusted that the forward would do the right thing. Now, there's times like in the Barron where you can protect yourself and not turn your back, but the Gudbranson one to me is terrible because he's going back trying to get a puck, make a play. Cousins not only hits him from behind, he explodes into him. He explodes. He doesn't try to rub him out. And if Gudbranson's facing him, I don't think he really does this. But he knows Gudbranson's vulnerable. He does it, and I hate his reaction. I'm going to tee off on him a little bit here. I hate this reaction, the one where like, oh, you're mad, but I didn't mean it. Well, it doesn't matter if you mean it. You hit a guy with a very dirty hit. Gudbranson even said the next day, I feel fortunate that I have full movement in my extremities. Now he challenges Cousins to a bunch of fights. Cousins doesn't oblige, so he takes matters into his own hands, and like you said, he ends up getting the suspension. I just hate the reaction because there has to be some sort of honor amongst the chaos, and Cousins did not do the honorable thing there and take his lumps after he made a mistake. Mistakes happen, but then you got to pay the piper, in my opinion.
But there has to be accountability for the league too, because like you said, he literally, you see him as just before he makes the hit, he loads up and then fires the hit. So I feel like there needs to be a review on the league for accountability for some of those actions. So yes, the game's faster than ever, but there needs to be repercussions.
Let's save Kochetkov on Kachuk, the poke check. We'll do that when we have time that you can argue. This is the knee, Ryan Strome on Kyle Connor, Jennifer.
Well, this is another one where we're talking about the game being faster than it's ever been. And so, yes, on Strome, initially trying to make some contact. There's no way this can happen to some of your most skilled players in the league. And Connor, as we see, is now out 6 to 8 weeks. So to me, yes, I mean, he's penalized, he leaves the game, but there's no further fine or suspension. So if you want to improve the safety of the game, something needs to be done.
I never think anyone knees anybody on purpose. I always think it's a reactionary thing. I don't think anyone goes and says, I'm going to try to knee you because I could get just as hurt as you. Now, I think the reaction is Strome does the right thing. Scheifele challenges him. Great, everything. Now, like, Scheifele's obviously not a scary guy physically, right? So if the next game, Lowry comes over and says, hey, we just lost our best player for 2 months. Now you're going to fight me. If Strome takes that fight, I think that's the code and that's the even right there. I'm just talking about the retribution. The hit, yeah, it sucks. We hate to see Kyle Connor out for 2 months. But a player has to be responsible.
At some point, if the game's going to be that fast, there has to be some responsibility for the player.